Money's talking loud, I hear it in the crowd. Innovations in the air,
I want you to listen to this for a quick second.
Invest in the future, ride the AI wave, where dreams turn to gold and the bold get paid. In the heart of tech, we're pushing past the brink. Algorithms humming through everything we think. This ain't just a game, it's a revolution. Machines
I'm waiting for the
and
chorus,
minds,
and then-
that's the solution. Invest in AI, watch your profits fly. Digital dreams catching that gleam in your eye.
All right, I won't put you through the whole song, but that song was actually for this conference, and I wanted to start off with that. I did say to Steve, was it okay to have a song about the conference? That was generated from literally one prompt saying, I'm going to be presenting at Wholesale Investor this week. This is what I'm going to talk about. Help me out with this song and make it catchy. So, but look, my name's Yash Varma, founder and general partner at Empress Capital. Empress Capital is a venture capital firm that focuses on early stage AI companies. And look, we really believe in the power of investing in companies early, and we think there's a real shift going on. I've talked before with the wholesale investor community about this platform shift, probably about almost a year and a half, 2 years ago, about how this is going to change. And every time I see things, I'm more and more validated that this is happening. And so today I really wanted to sort of give you a bit of a run through, not of our fun, but really about where we're going and what that could be. So I want to start off by really giving you a bit of a background why this is a once in a generation opportunity, not just to invest, but to start a company, and why it's such an exciting time to be where we are. I want to talk about three key breakthroughs in AI for 2025. And I really recommend that, whether you're a founder, you're running a business, you're an employee in a business, if you're not looking at some of these things, you really are missing out. And I know Steve talked a bit about this at the beginning. I'd love to give you a few examples of what that looks like. And then last, I just wanted to really talk to you about how you can capitalize on this, and whether it be, once again, running a business. I'm just talking about investing, but also about how you can capitalize from your mindset to what you should be doing, and some of the things that I also talk about. And so let's kick off. I'll be quick on this because I'm sure many of you know this is a massive opportunity in terms of AI. We believe this is once in a generation. Our research prior to launching the fund was that this area would grow at over 40% a year. That's what we're starting to see. Not only that, AI is now outperforming humans on so many fronts, if not almost every front. And so what that means for most businesses, it creates opportunity to be more effective in what they're doing, or more efficient, or I would say actually augment what you're doing. And you really need to be looking at that. We have a large number of language models that are like bunnies. They're multiplying, and each week there's new models outperforming each other. And what that means is it's creating more opportunities in different niches. And I'll cover a little bit of that today in terms of, what that might mean, and some of the applications of how, what you're able to do now that you previously couldn't. The other thing is more funding. If you look at what's happening in the US, almost 35% of funding went to AI companies. And if you take out the Mag 7 from the S&P 500, you probably have very little or negative returns. And so we believe this is going to continue for a while. And also the fact that really a lot of earlier, smaller companies, we think will start to do some really great things. Last but not least, I had to throw in my Chewbacca, baby Chewbacca. Generative AI is also a big thing. And what we're seeing, some people believe it's a lot of hype, but we believe it's going to drive out hyper growth for companies. And so the evolution of what's happening in this space, not just for generating images or songs, as you heard, there's many more applications to this, and I'll cover off a few examples of that. So let's kick off with those sort of three key breakthroughs for 2025 and what we see. And I sort of canvassed our team about what do they think. I just made it up as well, but and I used some AI in this, so just to be clear. And that is a key point I would love to say is, being able to use these tools really allow you to generate. And so I don't know if any of you have used something like Google's Notebook LM. That is the best product that Google has on the market right now. So if you've never used this or heard of this, it'll create a podcast of any content. If you uploaded your deck, for example, as a founder, it'll create a working podcast of yours. And it's pretty great, but just for researching and doing things. I'll cover off some of our portfolio companies which we're using as well. But look, the first thing I want to touch on is the rise of vertical AI. And by that, I mean, we're really focusing on particular niches. So when we're looking at companies, we're looking at what can you do that other people aren't doing, and what's that sort of focus. And this is going to be a really big area of growth. And we think this is going to be the next big evolution of sort of enterprise software. And so if we look at what that sort of vertical SaaS is, not with AI, that's a $300 billion market. And the research that we have shows that was going to grow by up to 10x. So we're talking about $3 trillion market opportunity and what that's going to do. So with that in mind, early companies getting involved. So if it's your business and you're involved in something, so I've seen a few companies today. This is a great time to be building companies. It's a great time to be investing in these companies. And so we think moving early in this space will be a really great opportunity. I wanted to give just a couple of examples of these niche vertical AI companies. One is a local company. I want to give some perspective. Funnily enough, a company that we've invested in called Mary Technologies. Now, Mary Technologies is a legal AI company. They take what used to take weeks and maybe even months of data. So I think many of you probably watched some legal shows on Netflix. People come in with a whole box full of evidence. They dump it on the table and they spend, every night sifting through those boxes of evidence to come up with what you call a chronology or a timeline of events. And so what Mary Tech does is they take all of that data and within minutes, sometimes even maybe a bit longer, but take what would have taken weeks and turn that into a chronology which is relevant for that case. Now, this is a very high value task that creates a really great opportunity for lawyers and paralegals. And a little example, I guess, of that. Same thing in the medical space. We saw Samir talking earlier on about how they're looking to automate with agents, and I'm going to touch on that as well. But there's also a US company. The low-hanging fruit for doctors is transcribing what's happening during a medical appointment. There's a lot of time spent post-consultation, and so Bridge have a really great tool that really makes that process automated, does a great job in terms of being able to help doctors spend time on treating patients. Little examples, there are plenty more examples I could give, but we'd be here all day. So second thing I want to cover off is really around AI agents. And we're really moving into the phase of going from taking these large language models and taking the output to taking action. And so in a lot of ways, AI agents are our little helpers. They're like little programs that can go and execute, some value to a business. And so what we're starting to see is this agentic approach to developing businesses. And I'd essentially say, this key idea of moving from output to action is really starting to happen. And next year, you're going to see many, many, things that are happening in this space. And it's around this term of agentic workflows. And so I'd really love you to think in your business, whatever you're doing, what is that? And so the way this works is you'll be able to have agents that can observe, look and see what's going on, look at what options are there, and execute on certain decisions off the back of that. It's very human-like, decision-making in terms of taking options with technology. And so it really will streamline the way we can develop certain types of businesses. Far more productive than what we're seeing with traditional software and language models. A couple of case studies, another Sydney-based company, agency, a very early stage company. In fact, they're raising money now. I don't know if Tim's here today, but look, focusing on helping small businesses use AI. How can they have agents that help them write in the tone of their company? How can they help them triage emails? How can they be personal assistants? So they have a vision of helping smaller companies. And then we have Relevance AI, who have a lot of different agents that help people around sales, help them around marketing, help them around support. And so we're starting to see voice make a big play, but equally in that support space. So many of you will have businesses where you support people, funnily enough. We're going to move very rapidly from just chatbots to being able to have voice agents and really add value like we've never seen before. I wanted to see if I could quickly show something which Steve mentioned this morning. If I can just show you here. This is actually our only non-Australian investment. We invested in this company called Anthropic. Many of you may have heard of them. Just want to show you what this computer use is about, and think about this I'll show a little bit of this because I don't think we'll have full time to watch all of it, but I do recommend you go and have a look at what computer use is for Anthropic. It's going to be quite busy.
So I'm Sam, and I'm one of the researchers here at Anthropic. Computer use is something that we felt was going to be important for a while now. And so today we're going to be talking about a very early version we have of computer use and walking through a representative example of the things we think it's going to be useful for. We're going to be going through a quick demo today. In this fictional demo, a customer, in this case the Ant Equipment Company, has come to us and asked us to fill out a vendor request form. The data I need to fill out this form is scattered in various places on my computer. What we're going to do is ask Claude to look at the spreadsheet, check if Ant Equipment is in there, and if not, move over to the CRM and try and find some more information there. Once it has this data, Claude's going to then fill out the form for us and hopefully transfer the information across to the vendor form. The first thing that's going to happen is Claude's going to start taking screenshots of my screen and quickly realizes that the Ant Equipment Company isn't actually in the spreadsheet. So the first thing it does is it swaps over to a CRM and searches for the company we're interested in.
I just want to pause that and I'd love you to go and have a look at that. But essentially what you're seeing there is a large language model looking at your computer, looking at your screen and taking some action. No one is telling the computer used to go and do this thing. You're just giving it a task. And so if we start to think what we can do and think about what we do within our businesses, this is going to have a big impact on where we go. And it's going to open it up to a really large number of people to develop. So I'd really encourage you to go and have a look at this, see how you could start to use this. Now, this will take some time, but unless you're thinking in this agentic way, it's going to be really hard to compete with people who are using this. And so once again, we believe there's businesses that are using this approach to really have step changes in the way that they operate. And I think Steve talked about having a 10-person billion-dollar company. I'd probably disagree. I think we're going to have one-person billion-dollar companies. There is that option. And if I had time today, I had some AI bedtime stories which you can come and talk to me about later, but I don't think I'm going to have time, which is exactly that sort of story. A great story. So look, the next thing I wanted to talk about was really around AI's leap forward into the way these models are working and thinking. And so there's a great book, Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow, or Thinking Slow and Thinking Fast, by a psychologist named Daniel Kahneman, I think his name is, and talks about two modes of thinking. And if we want to think about what we had previously, the first mode of thinking is thinking very quickly, reacting very, just instinctively to something, which is what they call system one thinking. With the release of the new OpenAI model, which is called the O1 model, what they discovered is it's moving more into this system two thinking, which is taking more time to think about things, reevaluating, looking at what decisions are made and adjusting, which is very similar to what we do as humans. And so often we'll do this system one thinking where we'll just go and do something quickly, we'll think about it, but then when something's difficult, what we do is we take a bit more time, we take more time in terms of evaluating it. And funnily enough, one of the sort of lead researchers at OpenAI discovered that when they gave the model 20 seconds more time, it actually had 100,000x on performance. And so we've thought these improvements are going to come through more compute, but what we're actually seeing is there are different modes of how they can use these models to get more efficiency. So if we add this with all the different changes, this is definitely going to be a big game changer. So I'd love you to think about what can I do with this kind of thought process as an assistant with me. And so this is, we're seeing some really interesting things. When you're trying to come up with an idea for something, I recommend you have a chat to either one of these, and you'll see some really interesting things that are coming out. Once again, Steve, you talked about you're using this within your businesses, and I would really encourage you. I'm using this throughout everything I do. So yes. So what can you do to capitalize? I'm going to be super quick now. We need to think about what the future organizations look like. And we believe investing in AI-first companies is a real opportunity. So really thinking about how you can leverage that in your organization. The concept of experiments, really trying to bring these experiments. Not everything will work, but having this approach is something we really encourage you to do. And then thinking about the thought process. What is it, what do you future leaders need to be thinking about? And so really going into this sort of mode of continual learning, if we don't adapt and evolve to try some of these experiments, it's a really important thing. So if I had more time, I'd cover off more of the mindset around the future leaders that we believe are there. So we also believe there's a big opportunity. You need to invest in AI, and that means whether you invest it in your business or as an investor, you invest in AI. And so, we look at that with three buckets: applications, tools, and infrastructure. And we believe that, look, this is hard. There's a lot of noise. I always hear people saying, how do you, there's so much out there. There's a lot of AI washing. What we're starting to see is now not just AI washing, but agent washing. So there's a lot of noise, and that's what we spend our time on, is really looking at that complexity, looking at the volatility of this, and really how we can help organizations. So we'd love to talk to you more if that's of interest to invest in that space. But I would say, when we think about investment, invest in your own businesses using these tools. And I think this is a really important part of what we're talking about. The other part I mentioned was really around community, and this is a community here. So another way to make sure you get involved in this space is to attend events like this. We also host various events. Would love, any one of you are welcome to come to many of our events. We have an event in Sydney on the 11th called Dazed and Diffused. We've been doing these for almost 2 years now. I think this is an important part of how we learn collaboratively. And this is a big part also of how we adopt AI. Everyone talking about how they're using it. We are at this very early stage. And this is deja vu for me. My first business that I built and sold was the early days of the internet. It was very much like this. So community is a big part of it. And the last thing is, we really encourage people to co-invest. So if investors that are interested, come and talk to us. We have some great opportunities. We love to share those. And come and talk to me later on about the 2 AI bedtime stories. I'm not going to be able to tell because I've run out of time unless I'm allowed to. But thank you so much. I want to just sort of finish. I always forget to tell people about the QR code. So all of this is, if you scan the QR code, all of this is available in there. I'd love to talk further to any of you today or outside of here. Thank you so much.